previous video, we took a look at the Historic Moments tool that is a part of the Google Cultural Institute. We only looked at the first part of this tool, though. We looked at the exhibits. The exhibits are collections of media that might be photographs, paintings, scanned documents, or even video clips that have been compiled to address certain topics. They might be about a certain period of time or a certain event. Though they are very helpful, they might not show you the specific resources that you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for something more specific than a broad topic. Now, if I want to do this, I can go to the Historic Moments tool, and when I click the link and get to the page, I will see the different exhibits that we looked at in the previous video, or I can go to the left and click Explore Everything. When I go to Explore Everything, I get a search tool. This tool allows me to quickly and easily search the media that is collected here. This is a much better tool than a Google search because you are guaranteed to find materials that have been vetted and are in museums and have been looked at and categorized. You know where they're from. They're going to be much better than just an image you find on the internet. What is also great about these images is they are going to be extremely high resolution. So you're going to be able to have access to details that most materials you just find on the web don't allow you. Now, when you look at the search tool, you can see that you are able to search by a number of criteria depending on what you're looking for. Your basic search that doesn't have anything listed in it allows you to search the collections of art. As you look, you can see all the different sources of materials. I can search by who made them. I can search by the type of medium the materials in a collection are. I can search by different events. I can search by places. I can look at different people that are represented and the different items that kind of go with that person. I can search by media type, or I can even search by a specific date. Now, all of these are very powerful tools, but as I go, I might want to search for an event. I think the Holocaust is a very powerful event, and I think for people to learn about it, you really can't grasp the horror and the historical significance of it unless you actually see some of these things that actually were there, whether it's the belongings of the people or the pictures of the people there, and even the interviews of survivors or people who knew the survivors. When I go to the Holocaust section, I see there's over 14,000 resources. I see there's 2 exhibits that are made that kind of address this topic, but I see this huge list of information that I can access. Now, not all of this will be in English. Google is a worldwide tool, and some of these collections are international. So you might see that this particular one it looks like it's Hebrew, but you're going to have to explore. As you go through, you can see pictures of things that you probably wouldn't really grasp if you just read it in a book. As I scroll through, I can see actual documents. Any of these things I can select and use. I can look at this particular one. It's a testimony of a Holocaust survivor. When I click on it, it brings me to the video. Right here, I can click play. And it pulls the video from YouTube, and it gives me the option to add details or to see the details of the video and who put this up there. This is from a museum that's main focus is the Holocaust, so it's going to be a reliable resource. If I get out of this, I can look. This video is now something that I can kind of use with a class. I know where it is. I know where I got it from. It's a great example of a first-person account of someone that was there. When I want to go back to my search, I can click the X, and it will take me back. Many of these resources are going to be very powerful. This is the wall on the inside of one of the cells in Auschwitz, and if you look at it, it has the names carved in it from a man who was in there. He carved his name and his number along with that of the woman he loved. It's a very powerful kind of example of what this was like. It almost allows you to picture what it might have been like stuck in this cell. I think for many students who might just read about it in a book, seeing things like this really can kind of set it apart. As I go through, I just have this huge ability to search through. Now, since I clicked on the Holocaust event, all of these search criteria, all these items have been kind of filtered through the Holocaust filter. If I come in and type survivor and search, it's going to search not only Holocaust but survivor. So now it kind of went through and found me videos or pictures of survivors of the Holocaust. And if you look at that, this is a great deal of material. It's broken down in a smaller clip, so it's easy to display, it's easy to share with a student. And what's nice about this is it usually has information from survivors or the people being interviewed on a bunch of different areas of the experience. They talk about escape, they talk about survival, they talk about when they were brought to the camps. And I think it really kind of describes the history in detail that you don't get from just looking at a text. But when you're done, you can X out. When you are filtering through your results, you actually have a number of different ways to do this. At the top right hand side, you have a play button that will actually play them in order, and it kind of runs it as a slideshow. That for a search like this that has over 4,500 items, this probably is not going to be your best one. You also have the ability to sort. You can sort things from oldest to newest, or even view them in different ways. This kind of shows you a tile view like you might see in a Google search. If I click to the next one, it'll show me one at a time that I can scroll through, or I can even click to the bottom and it gives me almost kind of like the YouTube view where I see a little description of each one. I think this is a pretty valuable one because it gives you a little bit more of a synopsis of what you're looking at, even though the thumbnail is a little bit smaller. Now when you're searching through materials, you're going to notice that some of these materials might overlap and end up being in the different exhibits we look at. So you can kind of come through and scroll through. If you notice I X'd out of the different search terms I had above me, you have to do that if you're switching topics because otherwise it remembers them. So I would have been looking for Holocaust survivors and then trying to find a person that was listed that way, and it wouldn't show up on my search. So if I want to look for a certain person, I'm able to do that. If I look for FDR, I can click on this and see there's over 7,000 items from FDR, including this one, which is a document. And as I zoom in, I can see any one of these documents. And certain documents, certain media have the little plus sign, so you can add them to a collection if you want to use it later. Not everything does. Here is actually the Marshall Plan. This is an exhibit that is dedicated to all the different media they have that has to do with the Marshall Plan. As I scroll through, there's a number of things I can look at, including pictures, maps. A lot of it takes some exploration to really see everything that's there. With how much material is available, you're going to really have to kind of scroll through to see what what's going to fit your top. When I'm done looking at particular material, I can always scroll on the top left and hit home or historical moments to get back to the historical moments page. And when I get here, it's very easy to get back to that fresh search page. When you look at the materials that show up for a search, you're going to notice there's different criteria for each picture or each image that kind of shows you what you're able to do with it. If I scroll on this first one, it's a work of art, and when I hover on it, I see there's a tiny plus sign, which means I can add it to kind of my personal collection and then use it in my galleries. It also gives me the compare tool where I can add this work and put it side by side with another, or it allows me to share it through a link. Now this particular interview only allows me to share it. It's not allowing me to view it side by side or add it to one of my own collections. This video clip also doesn't allow me to do that. As I come through to some of these materials though, I can see there's different rights attributed to each one. And depending on what you're looking at, it's going to determine what you can do with that particular material. As you go through, it's going to be easier. Like this particular video allows you to add it to a collection, so you could use it in a gallery. It all depends on who's added the video and what kind of rights they've attached to it. I think this tool definitely lives up to its name. It is a huge collection of historic moments, and the fact that these materials are of such high quality and unlike just the stock pictures you might see in a textbook or on a basic website, I think it allows students more opportunity to explore different parts of history where a website devoted to a certain event has a limited amount of space to put media, things like pictures or video clips. This is kind of the huge archive that they can search through and find different things that can help answer their questions about different parts of history. But it's a very powerful tool, and I think it's one worth sharing with students and using as a tool to spark a discussion or learn about a certain point in time or a certain place or a certain event.